Welcome to another edition of the Big Dig Live. We have been gone, it seems like forever. Everybody's been on vacation and trips and all kinds of stuff, but we're back. So I would say hello to Tyler, hello to Lamar. Glad you guys are back with us too. And tonight's show is going to be a very simple show, a show about just God's creation. Um, and basically, if you go and like, because we've kind of all been on trips and things, when you go on a trip, what is it? For instance, when I go to the ocean and I see the vastness of the ocean and all those things, that makes me and reminds me of God's awesomeness and his creation. And so tonight we're going to just kind of bounce that around amongst us, and hopefully the people that come in and watch, maybe they can post a comment as well. And just to say, when I see this or when I experience this or whatever, that's when God's the awesomeness of His creation really comes to mind. So guys, how's it been for you guys? It, like I said, it feels like we've not been together for a long, long time. There's been storms in between, the times that the last show we had together, and then of course different vacations and children's camps and VBS, all kinds of stuff going on. So what all? Let's start with you, Tyler. What have you been into, sir?
Work mostly, not a whole lot outside of that.
Right, you had to
Um,
take some flights and go to different places.
yeah, yeah. So I did make a trip to San Francisco. That was last month, and that was for work. That was just a few days out there, in on a Monday, out on a Friday. The flight itself was not very enjoyable either way.
Right.
Uh, yeah, but it kind of is what it is.
Did you get to fly through the smoke from up north?
No, no, we really didn't see much of that. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of a window seat rider most of the time. Of
Hmm.
course, that may have to change. At my age, I don't sit for extended period of time very easily, so I
Yeah.
may have to start doing aisle seats so I can get up and move around. But
Right.
one of the things I do like to do is if there's a clear sky, I will actually just sit and watch out the window, and I watch everything down below,
Yeah.
the landscape and everything.
Yeah. I, the first time I was on a plane, I guess was the trip for our honeymoon, and we flew out of Nashville. I think this is right, Nashville to Fort Lauderdale, and then something like that. Miranda could tell you exactly, but I think it was Nashville to Fort Lauderdale, which wasn't that long of a flight. By the time you hit your apex, you're already coming down.
Yeah, yeah.
But at first I was inside seat, not by the window, and I gripped the seat. Probably there's probably still an indentation of my hand, where I was holding. But once we got acclimated, or I got acclimated to that, I think on the way back I was by the window looking out, and it's an amazing view from that high up, and everything. But
Mhm.
what about you, Lamar?
Man, it's just been busy. Been really busy. Like you said, went on vacation and had some stuff to do around here. Had to pick up some stuff from the storms and stuff. Still got some damage I need to get fixed and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Just been kind of busy.
Yeah.
We actually came out fairly unscathed ourselves with the storm, so we were fortunate in that
We've had some
respect.
doozies, right? We had that one, and this was before we all dispersed for summer. I think that 90-mile-an-hour wind
Oh,
event or
the
whatever.
winds. Yeah, we got some damage from that one day of just horrible winds.
We got this trampoline in the backyard, and of course we've got some stakes in the ground. But I was like, if anything is going to launch that thing, into outer space, it's going to be this storm, and it never touched it, and I could not believe it. So we've been really fortunate with that.
I think if you like stuff like that, if you get it stoked, a lot of people just don't. They
Yeah.
think it ain't going to come big enough wind to blow this thing around, and then you know
Mhm.
after the big storm, there's trampolines all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. That's usually how it goes. But we were fortunate with that and on all that. And of course, Lamar and I, we're all getting ready to head back to school. Miranda as well, coming up here in just a couple of weeks. So everybody's kind of trying to gear up for that and get ready for that part. So,
Yep.
but anyway, let's do a shout out real quick to the our listeners. So we have Aunt Eileen watching, and she's watching by Facebook, and my mom, who's watching by Facebook, and then Miranda's in here watching on YouTube. So I'll show that we have four. Looks like four watching. So there's somebody mysterious out there is kind of checking us out. So hello to you too. Um, And then, so like I said, we've been really busy. All of us have, and with our own things. But this summer has been filled with VBS and um, children's camp for me and Miranda. And I want to share the good news. I mean, we're surrounded by all the bad news, but the good news is like off the children's camp, we had 7 salvations from that. And that was an awesome experience. And today at church, I got the opportunity to baptize a little girl that I had the privilege of leading to the Lord during camp. So that was pretty cool. And we had a bunch of baptisms today. I think we were, I don't know, maybe 10.
I stopped
Nice.
counting.
Yeah, there was a bunch.
It was a
Wow.
lot.
But the other news was from our VBS. It started out as the number I heard was 27. What I found out today is after, and that this is decisions, and not just salvations, but there were decisions made. So, for instance, if someone decided to get baptized or whatever, but the total decisions from VBS was 61, which is a great number. And
Mhm.
so that was pretty exciting. And we'll be seeing at church from this point, well, all the way back to the VBS baptisms, which were Thursday. Then we had baptisms this morning. And they said pretty much every Sunday, all the way up through Godstock, there's all kinds of people, will be going through the baptismal waters. And so God's
You
doing.
just got to kind of line them up, I guess, because I mean, logistically, you can only do so many.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, a lot of people want to get baptized in the lake for the Godstock thing, which is really cool. And then, but I mean, yeah, we were lined up all the way down the baptismal stairs, wrapped around into the back hallway today, which is really cool.
Cool.
And so it was just it's been neat to see it. And Pastor Steve had mentioned, one of our deacons had mentioned that he had been praying about this for like 24 months. And, he used the word tsunami of people coming to Jesus or, making that decision or whatever. And the word to the church was be ready, be prepared. And we're starting to see that, and,
Yeah.
but like I said, it was it's been a whirlwind of a summer. We went to Kings Island yesterday, and
Goodness.
spent the whole day there, till the end where the fireworks and all the stuff they did. And we got back to my friend's house in Louisville about 1:30 ish, somewhere's in there. And we all just, found the spot, we were downstairs and we just went to sleep and got up. All 4 of us, me and my wife and 2 kids, everybody got a shower. We hopped in the vehicle and off to church we went and drove down down to church about an hour early, actually. So, of course, this afternoon we totally passed out for a while and had a big old long nap, but, it's just like making memories, and it's like, somebody said, well, did you ride anything? I was like, not really. I rode the Eiffel Tower up to the top, and looked
Yeah.
out. And I already know that my body will not let me ride roller coasters anymore.
No,
way.
no.
We come off of there with your eyes crossed.
The last time I was at Kings Island was going to be on the order of almost 25 years ago. It was just not long after Kate and I got married.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of our early trips. It was probably after our honeymoon. It was probably the very next trip that we took.
Yeah.
And I had actually gone to Kings Island the very year they opened the Beast
Oh wow.
as a kid.
That's
I was,
that's cool.
I was too young to ride it then.
Yeah.
Mm.
And of course, crazy lines for it anyway. My oldest brother, he got to ride it. Um, and so it was one of those things that was kind of on my bucket list. I wanted to ride the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we went, I had gotten in line, had stood in line for 2 hours. I was literally maybe four people away from getting on it, and this massive downpour happened. Just huge rainstorm.
Yeah.
And for most I mean, basically they halted the ride at that point, but for the Beast they had to close it
Mm-hmm.
because it's a wooden roller coaster.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
And so four people away, I
There
still
you
have not ridden the Beast.
Oh wow.
Mm.
So what was interesting while I didn't know this, but while we were there, one of the builders of the Beast was there. And he has ridden that roller coaster. I think it was like 32,000 plus times.
Phew.
And he was there again, yesterday. Yesterday was the first day of what they're calling Carnival. Carnival. I mean, it's play on words. Carnavale. Carnival. And it was, that kind of I don't know, what is that, Brazilian flavor, I guess you'd say. All the headdresses and stuff like that. So
Right.
they had that, and of course, Kings Island got bought out a few years ago. I think it was in '06 by, it was a Paramount place, and they got bought out by Cedar Point. So now Cedar Point owns it. So now the theme. Remember how we used to have Hanna-Barbera?
Oh yeah, I remember the whole little section with the
Mhm.
little kids roller coaster and
All
that
that's changed to Snoopy and Peanuts stuff
Hmm.
now.
Interesting.
So it's got a Snoopy theme more. We did catch one outdoor, kind of an outdoor show. It was like BMX bikers doing all the stuff, and inline skates, all that stuff, and those trampoline guys. Have you seen the new trampoline thing? It's on YouTube a lot, so Tyler doesn't get on YouTube. So basically, you got these huge trampolines, just squared trampolines, and they're on a wall, and so they just take off and dive, land on their back, and it takes them all the way back up, or they can do flips and all this stuff. So they had that piece going. They had a 5-guy drum line that was a part of it, dancers. It was a really cool show to see all that. And then
And
go
it's
ahead.
not entirely true that I do not get on YouTube. That's false.
Okay, all right. We need a Wikipedia for Tyler. You know what I
I'm
mean?
very
There you go,
selective about what I watch on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Gotcha. Okay.
I know about
The record
15
straight.
years about 15 years ago we went to, I think it was Kings Island, could have been some other amusement park, and I got on a wooden roller coaster, the first ride on it, and then I got off. I was like, "Yep, that's the last time I'm going to ride a roller coaster." That was it, and I haven't been on one since.
My last one was Holiday World. We frequented Holiday World for
It could have been Holiday World too. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've got one. Joshua, he went for many years and would not get on a roller coaster, and so I actually got him riding coasters at Holiday World, and I can't remember the name of the one that we rode, but it's a wooden one
Yeah.
that's there at Holiday World. But that was the last one that I rode. But I was actually known. Goodness, it's been so many years. What is the really crazy roller coaster that they've got at Holiday World that has that massive first drop that's almost straight down?
Yeah, you're asking the wrong person.
I
I
It's
don't
been
know.
so long.
it's
Been there.
it is absolutely a crazy roller coaster, and I was known for actually getting other members of the family to ride it with me. But then, like and everybody hated me for doing that.
Yeah.
But like the very last time I rode that particular coaster, when I got off of it the last time, I could barely walk straight.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I was that
so,
way with the Tilt-A-Whirl. The Tilt-A-Whirl was
oh
I
man,
rode it 8 times in a row the last time I went, and I was
No,
drunker than a
no,
skunk, man.
no, no, you can't get me on anything that spins.
no way, no
Yeah,
way.
mom said that Fountain Ferry Park in Louisville had a wooden roller coaster, and that
That
was
one.
back in her day. Um, I was trying to think. I rode one at Kentucky Kingdom.
Mhm.
It was an indoor wooden. I think I don't know. It was an indoor roller coaster, and it about beat me to death. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I am done. I'm
Yeah.
done. I don't. I don't have anything to prove.
Yeah, yeah.
Me and my friend Thomas yesterday, we were up on. I guess we were up at the Eiffel Tower, and we were just overlooking all the different ones you could see and all this. And I was like, I said I don't really care if people call me a chicken. I said I'll just go ahead and flap my wings and bark, 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 bark. I'll go ahead and claim it because you ain't getting
Yep.
me. This new one they've got up there is got 300-foot vertical drop at 91 miles an hour. I mean,
And as
Yep.
much as I enjoy those things, there's just no way my body can take it anymore.
yeah.
No way.
Well,
Yeah.
That's the issue is my
well,
body just can't
it's
take it.
always the question when you're going, and I don't know about you, but my question is, why did I get on this?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Everybody goes through that same
I
question.
I got into the roller coaster thing back before Opryland became Shopryland.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, you
I
know,
love Land.
the Wabash Cannonball, not
Mhm.
a major roller coaster, but the thing about the Wabash Cannonball, it was actually the first coaster I rode that went upside down at any
Hmm.
Oh
point.
well, yeah.
They do those loops. Um, and I was with a group. I was in junior high. I think I was in junior high. I was with this group and we all went down. There's probably 40, 50 kids. And they had said it was going to be one of the most packed days at Opryland. So we were looking forward to it just being awful.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Crowds, long lines, that sort of thing. Well, apparently everybody heard the same report because the park was almost empty.
Oh wow.
There were not many of us there at all. I swear, I am not kidding you. I rode the Wabash Cannonball probably 30 times.
That's
Literally, we get out and run back around
yep.
and get back on it again.
Yeah.
I remember we were there like one of the last few weeks the park was even open, and like everybody else had already stopped going, and so I was there with like three or four other guys, and they let us just stay on the ride. We just stayed on the ride and went through again.
Wow.
Got back, and then they just let us stay on. We just went through again.
Oh wow, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom says the Wabash Cannonball she's referring to was the one that her dad rode at Upperland. He lost his glasses.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That could happen pretty easily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So, but it was a good, like I said, the trip to Kings Island. It was overall a good trip. It's just I don't know, something about it just seems like it takes forever to get to Cincinnati area. Once you get there, it's a hop, skip, a jump from there to Kings Island or whatever. But anyway. It's everything kind of is getting ready to kind of settle down a little bit, hopefully, and it's kind of regroup, recoup, and all those things. But anyway, we're glad everybody's here with us, and like I said, tonight is just going to be a light show, just a kind of a feel good show, just to get us back into the swing of things. And like I said, glad you guys are back with me here, Tyler and Lamar. Tonight we're going to be talking, like I said, about if you go on a trip, if you go someplace special, what is it that when you see it, it reminds you of the awesomeness of God's creation, basically. I went and pulled this scripture. Let me see if I can do this right here. But let me see. So basically, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord from the heavens. Praise him in the heights. Praise him, all his angels. Praise him, all his hosts. Praise him, sun and moon. Praise him, all you shining stars. Praise him, you highest heavens, and you waters above the heavens. Let them praise the Lord, for he commanded, and they were created, and he established them forever. And he gave a decree that it shall not pass away. Praise the Lord from the earth, you great sea creatures and all deep, fire and hail and snow and mist, stormy wind, fulfilling his word, mountains and all his hills, fruit trees and all cedars, beasts and all livestock, creeping things and flying birds, kings of the earth and all peoples, princes and all rulers of the earth, young men and maidens together, old men and children. Let them praise the name of the Lord, for his name alone is exalted. His majesty is above earth and heaven. He has raised up a horn for his people, praise for all his saints, for the people of Israel who are near to him. Praise the Lord. So that kind of sets the premise of the show, and we've got a lot of cool stuff that Lamar's going to share with us in regards to his trip. And you went to Colorado.
Yes.
Before we get into that, if you haven't, not that it's because I did it, but I did a show on Dauphin Island and had a few pictures and I shared. And if you haven't seen that, please go check that out over at Rumble is where it's at. You can get it on Rumble and see it. And then again, we have our notification bell. Please like the video, share it, all those things. And we're going to try to get back on a kind of a pretty regular schedule, like as we've always have, Sundays at 7:00 Central, 8 Eastern. We are going live with Facebook and YouTube. So let's pass the word along to friends, family, whoever. We'd love to have more people, and we always enjoy the interaction. So Lamar, I'm gonna let you take it and give us a little. I guess you'll be our field reporter for this week.
Okay.
Your trip to Colorado.
Yeah. Well, a few years ago, we decided to go out west and just see what was out there. And so we went out to South Dakota, and just the awesomeness of the land and the views. And we just totally got inspired. It was like, we want to see all that God has created as much as we can before we pass, And so every year we'll try to pick a state and just go out there and just see as much as we can. We love going to national parks and, and just view the scenery, as much as we can. And so this year, we decided to go with Colorado. And so we get out there, and Colorado's not half, but the first part of it's just plains. So you're like, this ain't much different than Kansas or whatever. But once this was the first few of the mountains that we had. And I was like, oh my goodness, look at that. This was like the end of June, and you can see the snow up there on these mountaintops. And, it was just like, oh man, this is going to be great. So we started moving on, and we hit this place called the Great Sand Dunes. And you can't really tell how big these are, but you can see over there that there's a mountain right there. There's a mountain right there, and then there's those sand dunes. And it's like, like sand, like at the beach. But these dunes are just humongous. And it's just kind of out of place.
Is that attached to is there like a desert in this area?
I don't know if you'd call it. You could probably call it desert, but it's not like Arizona desert. But it's just kind of out of place, just out there, all these huge, massive sand dunes. And maybe I can zoom in. You might be able to see how big these are. I don't know if I can or not.
It's just interesting that in the midst of all that vegetation, you've got something that nothing's growing on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's just, and they, what do you call it? Migrate. These dunes, the sand blows and brings some dunes down,
Yeah.
makes other ones large, just like out in the, Sahara or whatever.
My
And,
aunt said she's been there and on up to Yellowstone.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah. We want to go to Yellowstone. We haven't been there yet, but that's on our list.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, these sand dunes are pretty awesome. And that tree line right before you get there, there's a creek that rolls through there, and you can wade in that creek to go from this side over to those dunes. And you can't see it here, but there was all kinds of people out there. And there's people climbing on those dunes and stuff. It was just a neat thing. And like humans couldn't create that. It's just God made that, So yeah, that was pretty cool. And I just saw this tree, and it looks like it's just growing on top of the ground. And I was like, man, that's just neat.
Yeah.
That was out there on the way to the sand dunes, and you can see a little more of it as we get a little closer, and see you can really see those dunes. I mean, they were just
crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
What was the temperature?
It was nice. It was 70s, maybe 80s.
Yeah, so this
right
isn't
in here.
anything like, nothing grows in Death Valley kind of thing, but the reason nothing grows there is just because it is so dry and hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not the case here.
No, it was nice. There's a few places I'll show you pictures of that it got very cold. It was about 46 one place we went because it was the elevation was so high.
Yeah.
This is a view from up at what is the name of that? Chimney Rock. Rock. And it was just you can see those mesas out there, and the pictures don't do it justice because that's 1,000 feet, some places between the high area and the low.
And what is a mesa, to be honest?
It's kind of like if a mountain was like cut flat, because on the top of the mesas it's usually flat, so you can drive your car or whatever to the edge of the mesa, and then you can look over. I'll show you a couple other pictures here. You'll be able to see it. Like right here, if you look up at the top right there, that's flat right up there. Yeah. So it's like the top of a mountain that's like flat. But I mean, if you can see down through in here, there's tiny little dots, and those are trees. That's how how humongous this is. This is Mesa Verde. It was really, really cool. And this is more of that. You see the flat up there on the top of the mesa.
Wow.
And this right here is our first encounter with snow up there. We stopped at a rest stop and was like, hey, there's snow over there. So we went over there and saw the snow. And this was, around July 1st.
That's crazy.
And yeah. And it wasn't, it was a little cool because the wind was blowing, but it wasn't, you would think that snow would melt, but
what's your elevation there?
There is probably around 9,000 to 10,000 feet.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's probably leftover snow from a much deeper snowpack. Maybe.
Oh yeah. A lot of the snowpacks are just really thick, and that's why they never melt. Yeah. Here's some views of the mountains, and something I want to point out is if you look up here, you'll see the trees stop
Yeah.
that they don't go up higher. It's because that the trees just can't grow at this elevation, and they call it the tree line
Huh.
because that's where stuff stops. There's no flowers and none of that stuff. It's just that stops right there, and then it's just
That-
rock.
Is this part of the Rocky Mountain Range, or is this?
Yeah, it's part of the Rocky Mountain Range.
Okay.
So yeah,
What?
and this is a waterfall. We just happen to be staying in this little town, and we were eating dinner outside, because it was so nice. And we looked up and saw this waterfall. I was like, I wonder if we can go up there. So we hiked up this side of a mountain, about a half a mile, and got up to this waterfall, and it was just beautiful.
Tyler, I think we need to put your beard on Lamar's. He's getting into all this hiking and adventure stuff.
Oh man, it's
Mountain man.
rewarding.
Yep,
It's rewarding. I mean, it's worth it. It's being a little older now, it's a little harder on the body, but it's totally worth it to go hike and see these things.
Oh, it would be costly for me. There'd be a hospital bill associated with it, I guarantee you.
traction for 6 months, whatever.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And this is more mountains, and you can see right here in the middle, a little town here.
Wow.
This was the town where we were eating dinner, like right in here. We saw that waterfall right up here on the wall, on the mountainside.
Yeah.
And this right here is it's called the Black Canyons of the Gunnison. And you can't really tell a whole lot about it, but like these walls are just super tall. And there's a river flowing down through here, Gunnison River. And I just kept using the word just unbelievable. This is awesome, just breathtaking. These words are the best I can come up with to describe this stuff, but it's like I said, it's the best I can do, because you can't even really describe the beauty of this, and how God just made this and carved this out. And I always feel like people who aren't believers say, the river cut that out and blah, blah, blah. But, well, God can use the river,
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, God made this using, the river and whatever, so.
We know the master of the wind and waves.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Here's another view of that, and you can see the river going down through there. It's pretty cool. And this is another view of that same place, but I wanted to point out this one thing right here. This ledge right here to here is over 2,000 feet.
Wow. 2,000
feet. It's one of the highest straight drop-offs in the whole United States. And then this stuff down through here.
I thought that Eiffel Tower yesterday was super big, but that ain't.
This is like two of the actual Eiffel Towers stacked on top of each other. And then this coloring through here, that's all natural. That's just how it was formed. It looks like somebody drew on it, but it's not. It's just how it's formed. It was just, it was awesome. That's all. I keep using these same words, but it's all I got,
I understand.
And there's the Gunnison River. That's that river that was flowing through those valleys.
You see that little spot right there with all the. Go back to that picture real quick, Lamar.
Right there?
Yeah. No, the next one.
The river.
This one? Yeah.
Right down here at the bottom right, as I look at the picture, I was like, that's where I want to put a tent right there.
Oh,
That would be
yeah,
the
yeah.
perfect spot to camp,
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
a little fishing and have a nice little spot there.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And this is a place called the Colorado National Monument. I had never heard of it, but it was lots of mountains and rock formations and stuff out there. It was really, really interesting. And we climbed up a bunch of that stuff and, got better views of, more of this. And, these rocks that were formed,
Mhm.
they just, I mean, they're just amazing.
Yep.
And
Take
then
a pause
here's,
for a minute. I want to share this with you.
Yeah.
This thing. Mom says, as beautiful as this is, there's a better day coming that we can't imagine the beauty that we will see one day.
oh yeah.
Yep.
That's true. And we definitely won't have any words for that.
No.
Yeah.
All we'll be doing is
All we'll be doing is praising.
praising him. Yep.
Yeah. It's more of that same monument. It's called the Colorado National Monument, even though it's not just a single thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the views were just spectacular.
What towns did you hit while you were there?
Oh man, all like just about everything.
Okay.
We stayed in a different town every night. We hit.
My reference to Colorado is through Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Oh
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I watch it constantly, and they do a lot of hunt or were doing a lot of hunting, bounty hunting out there in Colorado Springs was one of them,
Okay. Yeah.
and there was another one. I can't remember that
Is it
town.
Boulder?
Boulder was one of them.
Yeah.
Is there one that starts with an A? Aurora, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
carry on. I've
But yeah, we visited lots of little towns, and the biggest place we stayed was probably Boulder. We tried to avoid the big cities and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
definitely.
This was a little pond. Some
Oh.
guys were doing some fly fishing.
Yep.
This was at Rifle State Park. It was really, really neat.
Yep.
And I can't remember where that one was, but I mean, just the
Look at
you know,
the sun rays coming down.
yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's a pretty picture.
Yeah. This is called Maroon Bells, and you basically go to Aspen, and then you take a bus out to here to the Maroon Bells, and then you hike up toward the mountains up there. It's a pretty good hike. I think it's about a mile round trip, but I mean the water is literally snow melt.
Wow.
So it's like the purest.
Cold and pure.
Oh, it was so cold. Yeah, I reached down one place to touch it, and yeah, it was ice cold. It was, I mean, and just the scenery. I mean, that's what we never got tired of. Is just like you just look around and 360 degrees. You just look around, and
Like
it's just
postcard almost. Or
yeah.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
Eileen says Colorado Springs had some pretty things when she remember.
Oh yeah. And there's a little marmot right there. If you can see him,
Yep.
it's like a beaver.
Oh, right on.
He was on our trail, so we snapped a picture of him. And here is this, and then the next slide. I'm hoping you can see it, but this is some of that clear water, and
Yeah,
down in
see
here,
all
those
the
are
way to
the
the
rocks. Yeah, you can see those rocks, and then here's more of it, and that just looks like rocks sitting on the ground. But if you look up the top, you can see that's in water, so you can
That's crazy.
see that the water was so pure. It was awesome.
I wonder if a person could drink that and not get sick.
Well, they told you not to because they
Right.
said you can get some kind of something. I don't remember what they said, but we didn't. So because we didn't want to get sick, just in
Sure.
case,
Right.
And I threw this picture in there because these little towns, you go to, and then the backdrop.
Yeah.
No matter how beautiful these buildings are, the backdrop just shows them up. I mean, they're
Yeah.
the mountains. Yeah, they were just awesome.
Hmm.
And this picture right here,
Oh,
I
that's my
took this
favorite
picture.
one so far.
I took this picture with my phone, and I am not even a good photographer. but I think this is the best picture I've ever taken. I mean, look at that. The mountains, the
that's a
sky.
Bob Ross special right there. That's what
Yeah.
that.
This place is called Bear Lake. It's in Rocky Mountain National Park. And man, it was so beautiful. Rocky, if you only get to go to one place out in Colorado, go to Rocky Mountain National Park. It is,
How
and you have to
long-
actually.
Gorgeous.
How long did it take you guys to get from home to there?
Well, it took us. We left Friday afternoon about 2:30, and we spent that night in Columbia, Missouri, and then got up next morning and hit the road, and we made it to Eads, Colorado, Saturday night. So 2 days basically
Gotcha.
to get,
How many?
and that's
how many
just on
hours
the edge.
the road?
Those 2 days just to get there. I mean, 15 probably,
Okay.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not that much. I don't know. The first day we didn't get as far because we started late in the afternoon. So I don't know. Maybe less than that, 13 maybe, but quite a bit to get there. But then once we got there, we didn't drive 100 miles a day or whatever.
Mhm.
But Rocky Mountain National Park, it's in Estes Park, and that's up. It's pretty close to Denver up there.
Mm.
But yeah, this Bear Lake was unbelievable, and then we took off hiking to get to some of these trails.
Did you see any snakes?
No. Oh, and I actually
Probably
heard.
too cold for snakes.
Well, I actually heard that there's not any like rattlesnakes and stuff there because they can't survive in the elevation.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's too cold.
That's what I heard. I don't know if it's 100% true or not, but
Didn't go around looking, did you?
no, did not. This right here is called Dream Lake. It's about a mile hike back up a mountain in the park, and oh my gosh, it was awesome.
That looks like an album cover for Dream Theater.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. And then after that, we had to keep hiking because there was another lake we wanted to get to. Here's the other side of Dream Lake, but we kept hiking and we got up to Emerald Lake, and it's I can't remember if it's actually 12,000 feet, but it's really up there. As you can see, it's up there close to the top of the mountain, and that snow melts to form this lake, and then the runover goes a stream that goes down to the Dream Lake, and then I guess it goes on down to Bear Lake probably.
And I'm guessing when they have a snow up at this elevation, you're probably 6 to 8 feet or more, probably.
Oh yeah. You don't want to try to do this trip in the winter, maybe not even the fall or spring. I don't know, because this is where it was about 46 degrees. We had jackets on, and
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty cold.
Oxygen tank.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. Yeah, it was. I had a lot of trouble breathing,
Yeah.
just catching my
Very
breath.
thin.
Yeah. Just more views of the mountains. I mean, they were. Oh, let me tell you about this.
Oh, that's pretty.
The day after we went to those lakes, which we hiked 7 miles that day. We were so proud of ourselves because we did that. Well, that night it rained in Estes Park and where you go into the Rocky Mountain National Park. And so we were driving in there, and it was foggy. It was just, I mean, you could barely see anything. It was just so much fog. We were like, man, we're not going to be able to see anything today. And then we just kept going up higher and higher, higher elevation. And all of a sudden we just drove through the clouds, and it was just blue skies, and then we look back here and you can see we were literally above the clouds there. And it was about 12,000 feet there.
It's just like you could. I mean, the ground is like you could just set up a picnic if you wanted to. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there was a lot of snow. I didn't expect it to be that much snow, but there was. This was about the 4th, maybe the 5th of July. A lot of snow. And this is another lake in the park there. I can't remember the name of it, but I've got it written down. And these elk.
Was it elk?
I mean, yeah, elk.
Okay.
And we didn't think we were going to be able to get this close to any of them. But these were literally like on the side of the road, like some of them were crossing the road. So we stopped and other traffic stopped and just let these elk just do whatever they wanted to do. And Kim snapped a bunch of pictures of them. And I was like, man, this is awesome. They're just out here walking around.
What was that show that used to be on, I guess, back in the 90s? And it had in the intro, the intro song and the little intro to the show, it had moose and all that. I'm trying to think.
It's Twin Peaks.
Yeah, Twin Peaks. That's what it was.
I didn't ever watch it, but I remember the
The
moose.
Yeah.
We didn't see any moose, but we did see these elk, and I was hoping we'd see some bighorn sheep, but we didn't see any. And there's just another view of that, the clouds and stuff, and that's pretty much all I got.
Well, that's cool.
So, question for you.
Yeah.
For the non-hiker type.
Yeah.
I mean, what would somebody like me be able to do? See, I mean, some of that clearly was on some kind of a road.
Yeah. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them you can just drive up to, and you may have to walk, 100 yards.
Okay.
But not necessarily hike. But just walk out to the, to where the edge or whatever. And there's also a lot of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
I was going to say there's also a lot of like ancient Pueblo dwellings and stuff that they've unearthed. So I mean, a lot of those are you drive up and then you get out and walk 100 yards or whatever, and check those out. And then there was some cliff dwellings in some of these canyons. Hundreds of feet up in the air, they ancient Pueblos built
I've seen those.
These dwellings on the sides of these cliffs, and it was just unbelievable that they did that. But maybe they did it for protection, so their enemies couldn't get to them or whatever. I don't know exactly why they did it, but it was really interesting. Yeah, there's a lot you can get to that you don't necessarily have to hike 7 miles to get to.
Do you need a 4-wheel drive or anything like that?
No. Okay. Everything out there is just, regular roads. Except, I mean, we did go down one road that was pretty rough. That was early in the trip. I can't remember where we went.
I have to put this one on my bucket list.
Yeah.
And this right here, like this clouds above these clouds. Yeah, that's all on paved road in Rocky Mountain National Park. And it'll take you up 12,000 feet.
Wow.
And there's a Alpine Visitor Center up there. It's the highest elevation visitor center in the nation. It's like 11,750 feet.
So you have been. Let's see. You've been to Colorado. Where all have you been, Lamar? As in the last few years.
Last summer we went to New Mexico. We did a 2-week trip of New Mexico, which was real. I mean, it was breathtaking. Also, there was lots of Native American stuff.
California.
Yeah, I went to California. Well, we didn't like tour the whole state or anything. We just went to like Anaheim, in that area out there.
Now, New Mexico is the one that's got the big crater in it, right?
Yeah, a meteor crater. Yeah, we went to that. It was. You don't realize how big that is. It is humongous.
Did you all know that? I think it's Middlesboro, I think it is, which is like near Pineville. That's in a crater.
No, I don't know nothing
Yep.
about that.
Yep. I
That
think I'm right. Look that up, but I think I'm right on that.
that
Well,
meteor crater.
go ahead.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Finish that, and then
I was just going to. Okay, yeah, I was going to tell him that meteor crater. It is so interesting because that meteor was that caused that crater. They found it, and it was probably it's just like the size of like a small 4-cylinder motor. Okay, but it weighed over 1,800 pounds.
Yeah.
And
that's a lot of
you,
caboodle.
At least that's what's left of.
what? Right. Yeah, what's left of it? Yeah. And they showed us. We went out there and took a tour, and the tour guy just threw some magnets down on the ground and picked it up, and there was these tiny little pieces of metal all over the place.
Wow.
They're it's all part of that area now because it was just
Did you take that if you
exposed
wanted
like
to?
that.
Did they let you take that?
No, they actually have to like clean those magnets off and throw it back down on the ground. It's like policy; they have to do it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my question was to you is now you've hit a lot of those western states and those areas spots. What's your top one to this point?
I'm gonna have to say Colorado, man. It is just it's just unbelievable. It's the only word I come up with.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So now you've been a lot to Florida and down around the Gulf Coast and all that too.
Yeah.
When you comparatively you see the ocean or you see a mountain, where are you at?
Right now, at least, I'm the mountains, and like we went to Arizona too, and saw the Grand Canyon, and that was
Yeah.
the vastness of that is, you're just like, oh my goodness, I words can't even describe that, and you do get that feeling at the ocean as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love the ocean too,
I
but
do.
the mountains, I don't know, there's just something about it that just makes you just want to just sit there and just look out.
When
at
I use the word majestic, I think of the mountains.
Yeah.
That word I attribute to that.
Yeah.
And then awesomeness or some other word I would use probably to define the ocean.
Yeah.
And all. What about you, Tyler? What's your take and some of the places you've been and your favorite spots or whatever like that?
Well, I mean, I as much as I've not had a lot of mountain experiences, the limit of it's been Smoky Mountains. I mean, I've seen the Rocky Mountains, but I've never been in the Rocky Mountains. I think probably the closest I got, I've flown into Denver, which is, literally that Denver airport. When you fly out of it, if you're going west, you're, basically going right over them. But outside of that, I did actually go up into Washington State. It's been probably 10 years ago at least. More than that. But anyway, I love the mountains. I love, like you say, it's very majestic. I've often talked about I would love to have a cabin at the foot of a mountain, at the edge of a lake. Go into town once a month and get supplies.
Yeah.
As
Grow
long
that
as
beard
I,
out. Grow that beard out another 4 or 5 feet.
exactly.
There you
But the reality is, at the end of the day, I'm a water baby. I really am.
Yeah.
We go to the beach, and Kate loves to sit and lay on the beach. Me, I'm in the water, and I stay in the water until I shrivel up.
Yeah.
I just love being out in the water.
And there's something about being on the beach at sunset and even after sunset,
Yeah.
that you got that breeze coming in. Of course, Lamar, he get cold. I know him well enough. He'd be free. I'm freezing to death. I gotta go get me a jacket on. But the I don't know. when we were in Dauphin Island, like the last 2 nights or so, we had this little spot on the east end of the island, and the kids couldn't get in the ocean because of the red flag warnings for riptides. But we had this area if y'all know what jetties are, big old boulders basically to make a kind of a protective wall or whatever. And it had a little inlet, and it created a lagoon, man, the size of about probably 20 swimming pools. I mean, it was huge, and it was about neck deep on me, so the kids could swim. Had a little bit of a riptide feel to it, but it was manageable. But of course, and it had the inlet, and what came in there, you could the crabs and different sea creatures were in there, so they got to actually experience and play with a lot of that. But it was more of a controlled environment. But yeah, I went down there. I took my chair and just sat down. They were playing, and Miranda's kind of walking around, and she was sitting down too. And it's just that's peace. That's
Yeah.
that's peaceful. And I said, if I could do this every night, man, my life would be a lot better off.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but at the same time, you know what? I where I live at, we have a beautiful back deck, that overlooks rolling hills and all this stuff. But how many times do we get out there and really enjoy that, or get up on a early Saturday morning, sit outside and have coffee, which we could do real easy.
Mhm.
But it's like I just when I go to Florida, when I go to Dauphin Island or places like that, and probably the same with you guys wherever you might travel, it's like you have those moments of, man, this is the life. This little thing here we're doing, or like you said, Tyler, that dream or that thought of having a cabin right there at the foothill of a mountain with a lake or whatever right there, and it's like I think sometimes we need to make our thoughts or our dreams a reality. And sometimes we can do that even where we live. It's just like I said, for us, hitting the back porch on an early Saturday morning before the, scorching heat comes about, and enjoy those moments. That's why I'm glad for you, Lamar. You and Kim got to do that and experience that. You're living life, as they say,
Mhm. Yeah.
for us right now, and where we're at, our living the life is children's camp and VBS, but taking a trip to Kings Island, or hopefully I think this Saturday me and Ryder are going to go fishing. We're trying to work out a boat with a gentleman from church. If not, I'll take him and we'll do some off the bank. But enjoying that, getting out
Oh,
and
yeah.
enjoying that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But
My take on it basically comes down to this: God created all of that, and I think about that one picture, Lamar, that you said was your favorite. I think it was pretty much my favorite too.
yeah, pull that back up. You
Um,
get a chance, Lamar.
but
Yeah.
but God created all of that, and for so many of us, whether we're believers or whether we're secular, it still brings about just a very sense of peace.
Mm-hmm.
And my take on it is that simply God's reminders to us that peace is not found there, peace is found in Him.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right.
And so we've got to find those moments to take God's reminder that He created this to remind us that He is our peace. And so even when we're in the midst of our days of turmoil,
Right.
that He is our peace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have wanted to journey out, out west, like Lamar and Kim have been doing, but I keep getting pulled back to the beach. It seems like that's just where we're drawn right now, anyway. But
Yeah. Yeah.
this last trip for us was one of the best. I mean, it started out chaotic. I don't know if you saw or heard about it, but we were caught in between basically a monsoon and tornadoes, and I don't know what all. We get into the island, it's flooded. the road to the island before on the mainland was flooded, but we got through it all. And once we got there and got to our place, it really, the next few days were just like the best. But it's like you said, Tyler, and well said. These are reminders. When we were sitting there that evening, what I was talking about, and I've got a picture of it on my phone where I'm taking a picture of the kids and Miranda in the distance. Didn't know this, but Miranda's actually taking a picture of them in the water. But I had a moment of, this is wonderful. I'm seeing my kids enjoy, nature. Number one, nature. Number two, we're family together. And then just the peacefulness that comes from hearing the ocean and the breeze and all those things. And it's reminders of his creation, and through him is what you said, Tyler, that absolute peace that only can come from him, So, but Lamar, I appreciate you sharing those with us.
Oh yeah, man, glad to.
I know for Aunt Eileen, it's probably a trip down memory lane because her and Uncle Joe, I know they did this trip. I don't know if they did it more than once, but I know they've been out, all in that area. Like she was Colorado Springs area. I know I think they went to Mount Rushmore back in the day. And I was looking at, there's a thing on Facebook where you can check off all the places you've been, and then it shows it to you on a map or whatever. And man, I've got the eastern side of the United States covered, but past Oklahoma, I've just dabbled a foot in Oklahoma and Arkansas and what's the other one? Kansas. I've been all in there, but not to the other side, or down into Texas.
Well, I mean, it's far, It's
It's
a long way.
A long haul.
Yeah.
I would love to go to Hawaii, but as sure as I go, I won't come home.
Yeah,
That's where I've decided.
You will when you find out how much it costs to live there.
Oh, I know.
yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, I'm sure. But boy, those places like that. I think that's why I like Dog the Bounty Hunter. On the early seasons, they're hunting mostly in Hawaii, so you're getting to see all these spots in Hawaii and all this stuff. But anyway, but
everything I learned about Hawaii, I learned from Magnum PI.
Yeah,
there you go.
That was one too. Yeah, yep. What was the other show?
Hawaii 5-0.
Hawaii 5-0. That there was a newer version of a show that was
actually both Hawaii 5-0 and Magnum PI have had newer versions.
Right. Yeah.
Neither one of which were very good.
And Eileen said, "Yeah, more than once they went up that way, out to the west." So yeah, I've wanted to go to like where Magnolia, Chip and Joanna Gaines in Waco.
Yeah.
I wanted to go take a trip down to West Monroe where they did Duck Dynasty and stuff like that. But it's like, man, it's like 8 hours.
Enough. Kate and I actually talked about, we did do Laurel, Mississippi earlier this year, but we talked about going down, making a trip out of Laurel, Mississippi, which is where Hometown is done. I don't know if you've ever watched that one.
Yeah. Love those guys.
But we doing Laurel, Mississippi, then West Monroe, and then Waco, and just basically hitting them all on the way out.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
I go back and I watch the show. Like if I was gonna make a trip to like West Monroe, I would go back and I would find out where the donut shop is that they did the donut episode where Cy eats all those donuts.
Oh yeah,
and all these little different markers, within the show. I would want to hit those, But I've also been looking at the Dukes of Hazzard when they filmed it down in Georgia.
Yeah,
and that's a short trip, man. That's like 4 hours. And the Boar's Nest actually today is a church. But I found that interesting.
Interesting.
But like you can still. I've seen a couple of YouTube guys that went down in there, and they actually had a picture from the show, and they're showing the exact place, the angle everything of some buildings that are still, a part of the little town that they were in or whatever. I think that would be a really cool
Mhm.
thing. So
Yeah.
I still may do that. I was planning on doing that coming back, I guess, from our last Florida trip because we were right on the way, and we were just tired. We didn't do
Mhm.
it, but maybe one day. But yeah, like I said, we just want to have a light show. Like I said, it's an easygoing, show, peaceful, easy feeling show.
Mhm.
You and I, so if if a person who watches this, and they say, it doesn't really do anything for me. Well, you're missing the point. I think you're missing a mark because it's like, look at the creation, man, you know?
Mhm.
And I keep going back to what Jeff Prosser said when he was on the show with us one time. And he said, I look at the trees and they're moving and swaying and the leaves are moving and, all this. They're praising God. And I had never in my life thought of that.
Hmm.
And it's like, it just spoke to me, and it's like, we've got to open our eyes and look around, and look at the things we take for granted a lot of
Mhm.
times, you know,
Yeah.
and it's like I'm sure, Lamar, because you're a movie buff and you're a TV guy, you've watched shows with the Colorado Rockies or all this stuff
Sure.
in them, and there's been
Yeah.
probably a lot of times you'd agree with me that you just kind of skimmed over it. You never stopped and thought, man, but then you had the opportunity to be there and to see
Mhm.
it firsthand,
Oh yeah.
and it blows you away.
Yeah.
So, but anywho, so anybody else got anything? Are we ready to wrap up?
I'm clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So where we're going next, we'll try to have these type of shows and varieties of things. A couple of things I do want to tell you about. So, my boy and my daughter, Ryder and Jenna, we have a YouTube channel called Stewart Family Chaos that we have been working on. We finally kind of got things kind of dialed in a little bit, and we're going to start taking little trips as a family to waterfalls. Of
Hmm.
course, we started over at Shanty Hollow, which is just up the way here, and we got some footage of that on their site. If you would just go over to Stewart Family Chaos on YouTube and like it and share it or whatever you got to do on there. But yeah, that was an interesting little trip. It was like a afternoon. I think it was Sunday afternoon, and we thought, oh, the sun's coming down. There's a lot of canopy. Lord have mercy, it was hot. It was so humid, and we're so glad we took water.
Oh,
But
yeah.
there's a path back in there. I think you had to hike about, of course, I'm not on Lamar's level of hiking. It was like a mile, which wasn't that bad. And they got in there and got the footage of the little waterfall. It hadn't rained enough to make it bigger, but it was still a decent little waterfall. And I told him, we're going to try to hit Cumberland Falls, and I like to take him to Burgess Falls, which is down in Tennessee. There's a lot of
Hmm.
different ones. So, but if you guys would, Tyler and Lamar, and then also those who watch the show, head over to Stewart Family Chaos, and check out the video that we did. And he wants to be a YouTuber. It's more what I think Ryder wants to do. Jenna's a helper. She does cue cards and stuff, and that worked out good until I think Jenna had put her finger over a letter and it upset him. And then she said, "Fine, I'm done." Threw the papers, and it was it was a, it was funny. And then be sure you check out the last piece. If you watch that video, check out the last little bit where he's talking about where we're going next and fishing and stuff like that, because that was quite funny how he starts out saying it this way, and then as he's thinking about it, he's like changing his like, we're gonna catch a lot of fish, and then he's like, well, maybe, we hope. It's just cute. But what that did, it brought, not that we were separated, but that brought us together, and that to be able to go do that together and to get out in nature and not be stuck with a a phone or a tablet or an Xbox or whatever in front of your face all the time. I think that's important. So, but anyway, that's just a shameless little plug for Stewart Family Chaos on YouTube. So, like I said, next Sunday, we are going to start. Here's the title: Conviction, Confession, Submission. Just want to, we're going to try to delve into those kind of more specific, on each one and really get a true grasp of all three and how they all tie together. This had popped up when we were talking about the Asbury revival and all that. And it was something I said, we need to do that as far as having a good discussion on it. Conviction, confession, and submission, and how they intertwine and how they all connect together. So be ready for that. Anything else, guys?
I think that's about it.
All right. Well, let me get over here to put the old music on to say we're out of here this time. So thanks again, Tyler. Thanks again, Lamar. And thanks for everybody that has been with us or are watching it or watch it back. Remember, you got rumble.com. And that is, I think it's Big Dig 5. You can type that in the search engine and get over to see the old shows. And then, like I said, we're on YouTube and Facebook, so you can look us up there too as well. So until next time, we thank you very much for watching, and y'all have a good evening. Bye-bye.